Hi, I am Jonathan Easton, Deputy Editor of Digital TV Europe, and joining me today is Patrick Vos, CEO of Zappware. Patrick, can you provide a little background on the deployment of Zappware's UX over A1 Telekom Austria Group, the group's European footprint?
Yeah, sure. So A1 Group is actually an operator which basically is the incumbent telco in Austria. And A1 consolidated quite some networks over the last couple of years. They consolidated networks in 7 different countries. And what they wanted to do is, based on that consolidation, they also wanted to launch a unified TV solution across the whole footprint. Unified in the sense that they wanted to launch a similar brand and a similar user experience for the TV proposition. But on top of that, the system also had to be unified in terms of technology. So having the same client applications for the customer premise devices and being powered by a back office that also should be unified across the different countries, and hence also actually hitting 2 targets: a unified brand for the end consumer, but on top of that, economies of scale in terms of having the same technology solution in all the consolidated networks.
Great. What do operators need to think about when integrating multiple sources of their own and third-party content while catering to preferences that may be different in each country or market they address?
Well, content aggregation in terms of combining managed content with unmanaged content is nowadays very important. There is a lot of cord cutting going on, and operators do have a challenge to keep the customer with them, and they don't have a lot of time actually to react on this evolution in the market. But we as a company, we firmly believe that they are in a strong position to deal with it and to win, like we call it, the battle for HDMI 1, to be the main platform for watching TV. And in that sense, content aggregation is very important. So content being literally 1 click away for the end consumer and different types of content. But on top of that, they also need to have the ability to tweak the solution to specific needs in the specific countries, because every country has different culture of TV viewing. And with A1, that was also very important because they are in different footprints, different countries. For instance, in some of the countries, traditional pay-per-view is very important, while in other countries, that's not the case. Also, different sources of content might differ in different countries because of certain interests in certain footprints. And there we also introduced a back office tool, which is called Marketing Console. And that is actually a tool which allows the marketing teams to tweak the user interface according to the needs of a specific region, but also to highlight certain content propositions. For instance, at Christmas time, it is possible for the countries to propose certain content like family movies, Christmas movies, and so on. And as such, the Marketing Console is a very nice tool to optimize the user experience in that content aggregation world, so to say. Having and all of the countries having their own entrance on that Marketing Console, so that they can pitch different propositions depending on the needs of the specific audience. That's what we actually also call editorial recommendations, and on top of that, also the ability to change the user interface according to specific needs.
So how important then is search and recommendation to this, and what needs to be done to deliver compelling search and recommendation of content across multiple territories and multiple sources of content?
Yes, so I just mentioned editorial recommendation, which is bottom line recommendation that is proposed by the operator, and that way the operator can guide a little bit the consumer to certain content propositions. But on top of that, you also need to have a good search and recommendation engine that is doing content propositions which are based on the behavior of the end consumer. The big challenge today is that with content aggregation, the amount of content that is made available to the end consumer is so big that you have to guide the consumer in that big proposition of content. When you come home from a hard day's work, you don't want to search for a long time for the content you need. You need to be advised in terms of which content you would like to look at. And that's where we also pulled in the search and recommendation engine, in this case from Crossroad Media, which is one of our partners, which helps the consumer to find his or her way in that big proposition of content. And I think coming back also to the challenge of the operators, that's where they can make the difference. While you have different content propositions direct to consumer, these are all proposed in what I call content silos. Whereas when you aggregate the content and you can also guide the user through the content, that's where user experience comes in, which is so important in this evolving market. And that can be a big differentiator for operators to differentiate themselves from the various direct-to-consumer propositions, which are actually proposed to the end consumer in different content silos. And bridging those content silos and getting them together, that's a challenge, and that's also the opportunity I think the operators have with their proposition.
Lastly, how important and effective is the UX in keeping customers loyal and preventing churn relative to other elements of a service?
Well, we as a company, we've always very much highlighted the importance of user experience, because user experience is, to our opinion, a key asset number one in how to differentiate between different video propositions in the market. So there is a big fight going on for HDMI 1. And bottom line, consuming a TV service is about convenience. You have to offer a certain level of convenience to the end consumer. So the user experience is very important. Now, user experience is something different than user interface. User interface is part of it. User experience starts from an end-to-end point of view. And we've always designed our systems from the front end to the back end. Thinking about the needs of the consumer, how do you want to consume video in a very convenient way? And in that way, first of all, create a user interface that gives an answer to that convenience. But secondly, also from a technical design point of view, building the complete ecosystem in such a way that convenience at the front end can be managed. And that's how we designed the entire system from front end to back office. Whereas a lot of technology companies, and we are in a heavy technology business, so to say, a lot of technology companies think the other way around. They start to design a back office, video equipment, and so on, and they move to the front end. But then in the front end, they very often see that the user experience is not possible with the back office or the system they created. So thinking from the consumer to the back office to the technology has always been our approach. And I think I personally believe that is a very important proposition to the operators, because bottom line, all the video screens through which the consumer can watch video, these are the windows that the operator has to the consumer, windows that are watched on a daily basis by the consumer. So it's a very important communication pipe to the consumer through which the operator can pitch a very good proposition and a very nice brand and recognition of the brand in the market. So it's a very powerful tool also for operators to reach their consumers on a daily basis. And what we try to do as a company is, also as a technology company next to user experience, we try to hide all that complexity that is behind that system from the end consumer, and hence giving them a very nice experience, because bottom line, watching video is also a matter of emotion, entertainment that should not be blocked by any kind of technology burden.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Patrick. And we'll speak to you soon.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.